So in my head, there was no turning back. We don't realize when you make a decision like that, it could affect the rest of your life.
Knowing that we have a child waiting for us in heaven is something to definitely look forward to, but it's also very sad too. We're from a small community. We found ourselves sexually active at a young age, and being so, we found out we were pregnant. During that time, we weren't sure what we were gonna do. I remember being kind of excited, scared, a lot of mixed emotions. Abortion never crossed my mind. I just knew in my heart that I would want the child.
I'll never forget when I found out I was pregnant. My mom had me take this pregnancy test, and I was sitting right across this kitchen table from her, and it was almost robotic when I just said, I want to have an abortion. I didn't even think about it. It was just something that just came out. I didn't think that there was an alternative. I didn't think that there was a different way. I knew that he would never agree to it. And all of a sudden we get the knock at the door, and it was Justin. I said, let's go for a walk. And I walked to the park, which was nearby our house, and I told him what my decision was. And he got on his hands and knees, and he begged and he cried, and he was so emotional, and he was just like, you can't do this. This is our baby.
I just remember pleading with her, just asking her not to go through with it. She came to the conclusion that that was the best option for us. I remember walking into the clinic with her, and I'll never forget walking through those doors. There's no other way to explain it except say it was evil. Like there was an evil feeling, it was an evil presence. It was just something that was so strange. But I just remember walking in this clinic and just feeling like this was a bad place. This place wasn't right. It felt very sad and very heavy. And so at that time I had no idea, kind of how this would play a role in my life.
And I remember just like, there were so many women, so many people in this place. And we were ushered. I can only describe it as herding cattle. I mean, we were ushered from one room to another. And I was so traumatized. When I came out, I was upset and crying and just horrified by it. At that moment, there was immediate shame from the second that I walked out of that clinic.
From the moment Diana walked out, she was a very different individual, very vibrant, on Stuco. I mean, she was, involved in softball, sports. The only way I can explain it is that when she came out, she was like a shell of a person. And I remember like in the days coming, like I'd be like, hey babe, what's wrong? Are you okay? What's wrong? And it was just, there was no emotion. It was like this blank person. And I was trying anything to make her feel a little bit better. Diana never snapped out of kind of like, I guess, torment or depression. There was still this part that I couldn't reach in Diana. Of course, at the moment, at that time, you don't realize what effect that it's having on you. But I became very heavily involved in drugs. Anything that I could put in my body, I would put it in my body. I don't want to say that I was like in a deep depression, but I think that I was trying anything I could to kind of block out what had happened. But looking back at it now, I can see the effects. Every action has a reaction. And the reaction that was coming out of us was, we were just in a downward spiral, continuous. It just felt like there was no hope.
After that, for years, up until for about a year, I went through a deep, deep, dark depression. I attempted suicide multiple times for me because I just couldn't look people in the eyes. When you go through something like that, when you make a decision like that, there's like a lens that comes over you from the very moment. And I always say it's a lens of guilt. So every decision that you make from that point on is filtered through a lens of guilt. And so that's how I've lived my life. And I was just like, oh my gosh, how can I atone for it? What else can I do to make up for my sin? I never even knew that a crisis pregnancy center even existed. And I was just, when I had heard about the center, I was just like so amazed by it, like that there was a place out there that could help women and help them given an alternate avenue. Because if I would have had a center like that when I was making my decision, I think it would have completely changed my mind.
So I would like to think that if there was counseling, especially for a young couple, that it would definitely help. I think there's strength in that. I think there's strength knowing that a young couple can make it. There is hope. There's lots of other options out there.
That I truly felt God's grace completely flood me from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, because I knew that I could finally let go of all the guilt, all the shame, the hatred, self-hatred, if you will, and I could move forward and step out of the shell.
I ended up getting saved, completely changed my life, and I became on fire for God. Like all these feelings and these emotions just kind of overcame me. And I remember just crying. It was sad tears and happy tears, thinking, I really do have a daughter that's in heaven. It was like it became the reality then at that time.
I had this crazy desire to grow a garden. It was a dream that was not for me. It was definitely God. I truly began this journey of the Lord really showing me the way I'm tending to my garden is the way He cultivates our hearts. For the first time, I was just like truly grasping the call on my life. That's when my journey of Samantha's Garden becomes. What we do is we literally share love and grace through the beauty of flowers. We have the opportunity to be able to do beautiful floral arrangements, a gift that I tell everybody all the time that it is a gift that is Holy Spirit driven. I am not self-taught, I'm Holy Spirit taught on everything that we do. So everybody that gets an arrangement from Samantha's Garden, they actually give a little card that shares who she is. So for me, this isn't just a space for people that the Lord leads in to bring in here when they need Him, but it's also a place because it's a continued healing for me and being able to share my story.